Let me ask you this, Jack. Did this hurt?
Did it look like it hurt?
And how many times did you have to do that?
I did 7 saddle falls that night.
7. I thought it was less than that. There you go. There you go.
Ask me which take they use.
The first.
Of course.
I don't have to ask you what
Take one.
they
They use take one.
use.
They always use take one. He hit me in the face with that rubber gun.
Mm-hmm.
He had a rubber pistol in his hand and knocked me off the high side of a 17-hand bay. That's a very big horse. It's like falling off a 2-story building. I went right to my back. On one take, I landed on my nose, which I'd finally gotten fixed after breaking it riding rodeo as a kid. I finally got my nose straighter than it was. It's never going to be pretty, but it was straight. And one time I landed right on my beak. I just knew I broke it again, and they used take one.
Jeez. And then what did you say to him on the? Didn't you say something on the 7th take?
Well, no, you just take it. You just do what they tell you to do. And then they wanted to bring Arnold in to do his throwaway line, which became one of his classic, movie lines. He jumps on the horse and he says, "Oh, the police business," and he spins and he rides away.
Right.
So I'm behind the camera. I'm still in full pads. Everything I got hurts because every part of me has hit the ground in a different way on a different take. And I'm just there in case he needs an eye line next to the camera, and he does his throwaway line, and he rides off, and he does about 5 or 6 takes. And James is over at the monitor looking, and he's got this entourage. It was always a little dangerous to watch the monitor behind him because he might spontaneously erupt at any minute, but people took their chances, and they're watching the monitors. I hear him say, "Carpenter, come over here." My stunt pads, I'll go over there, and he says, "Play that back." And they played back the thing, and they played all 5 takes. And he said, "What do you think?" I said, "What, you want me to direct now?" He says, "Shut up and tell me what you think." I said, "I like take one." He said, "Fred, take one," he screamed, and they walked away. So then he set me on the ground to do a line of dialogue, which thank God did not wind up in the movie because I had never gone to the LOLAS School of Acting. I was going to
At that time.
Oh, yeah. Stuntman is a guy who says, "All right, mother stickers, this is a fuck up," and then they shoot you and blow you up and set you on fire. It's not a minimal amount of dialogue to get you to where they kill you.
But you did say you had the confidence for dialogue after you had studied with.
I wish I'd had that in my pocket when I was there, Brian. So I'm on the ground, and he says, "Okay." They put all the cameras on me, and I said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" He says, "Well, make something up." I said, "What do you mean, make something up?" He said, "Make something up." I said, "You're the writer. You wrote this thing. Write something." He goes, "Just make something up. Roll cameras." And I did my best Barney Fife with trying to get the pistol out and having it flip out of my hand, and it was pitiful. It made the cutting room floor. Thank God for everybody. It didn't wind up in the movie, but at least I gave it a shot.
So you worked with him on True Lies one other time, or did you work with him
Well,
anymore?
True Lies, I was on the full length of the movie. We
Right.
shot in D.C. We went down to Florida and into the Keys. There's stuff like, you talk about the engineering stuff. We had a shot with the Harrier jump jet where it spins around and it caves in the roof of a police car.
I love a Harrier jump
And
jet.
we've got these dummy jets that we're using for stuff. You go into our base camp and there's like 7 Harrier jump jets and 3 helicopters and then 40 trucks. It was like a big company. And we needed a scene with the plane spinning around with Arnold flying it, and it crushes a cop car before he gets a hold of it and flies off to go shoot the missile. And they weren't sure how to destroy the car or have the car stay in one
Let me
spot.
ask you, who's on this rig up here?
That is just stunt doubles. I wasn't up there. I was at
It
ground
freaks the
level.
shit out of me just looking at stuff like that.
It was frightening. I was on the set and walked around it. It was very scary
Yeah.
working on that boom. That was like a real thing boom, hundreds of feet in the air.
Yeah.
And then we had these cameras they were pretty new. They were technocrane cameras that they could move the camera in and out on the boom, could telescope. It was real new technology. We figured out how to get it up there and do these shots using.
I'm sorry, you were talking about your engineering thing. You were talking.
Oh, so they wanted to crush the top of the car. So we designed it. We put we welded a plate inside the top of the car and ran a cable down to the ground through the chassis to a pulley, and I hooked it up to the front of my camera car. And then as they spun around the Harrier jump jet and spun around, just as it got to the windshield, I started backing up and began collapsing the roof of the car down so that it looked like the wheel was crushing the car down the middle of the top.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, he spins around and flies off to do the
Right.
sequence here.
Right.
They really
Awesome.
blew up that bridge too in the Keys, right?
Actually, no. We were on what they call 7 Mile Bridge, which was the original Keys Highway.
He's from Florida.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
driven by it.
All right, 7 Mile Bridge was replaced by another highway. And at that point, there was a it's not a drawbridge, but they had a rotating T-section of a bridge or something that was in that gap. The main highway was over there, and the bridge is now a 7-mile fishing pier. You walk out there and you fish off the pier. And we took two 40-foot barges. It was an 80-foot span, and they built all of the wreckage and debris of a bridge that was blown up. And they floated them into that span and then scuttled them, set them on the bottom so that all that wreckage was in the gap to look like we'd just shot it with the Harrier jump jet and blown the bridge out.
Gotcha. Dang.
Which the actual explosion was digitally done. It was a digital effect, but then the bridge itself was practical. We had the bridge to work.
I feel like my uncles or someone back in the day were like, yeah, they really blew that
the
thing
rumor
up.
has it that the guy that ran the drawbridge on his last day before retirement, a barge or something hit the abutment and caught fire, and he burned to death in the tower. I don't know if that was true or not, but it was what we were all talking about. He died on his last day after 40 years of pushing a button to work the drawbridge on a 7-mile bridge.
Wow.
Crazy.
I don't know if we have anything else to talk about.
Well, I'll talk about it for you. Then when Arnold's got the jump jet in the air, he goes and he shoots the box trucks because one of them has got the nuke in it.
Right.
And I'm doubling one of the terrorists in a box truck riding passenger. If you're going to do Stuntman, the idea is I'm going to drive a car, I'm going to spin around, I'm going to flip it over. It's good. What stunt work really looks like is riding passenger with a guy whose driving abilities you're not entirely convinced of. And you're driving through fire and explosions. And I'm in this, they were like van front end with a box on the back, and I'm riding with this enormous stunt double guy, and he is screaming lines from Shakespeare, and he's too big to hurt. I can't stop him. If I shot him, it'd just make him mad, and he's going to drive us in there and kill us all. And we're going to hit a bomb on my side of the truck that is an enormous fireball, and it's going to hit my corner. And before we got there, they poured gasoline contact cement over the front of the cube van and lit it on fire, so we would be on fire on our way in to do this deal. Nobody thought about the fact that when that stuff's burning, the smoke is coming into the cabin. It's all very poisonous, by the way. It's all burning plastic, and we can't see. It was one of these. It was one of the box trucks behind it. So as we're going into the mark, the windshield fills full of smoke, and we can't see. And there's like 150 feet of the water on both sides, and we got a bomb coming up. So I opened the door on my side to suck the smoke out. The helicopter's tracking us. And just as they're going to cut into it as we hit the bomb, and just as we get to the bomb, I've got to time it to slam the door so that the fire doesn't come inside and blow us all off the bridge into the water.